Welcome to the Real Estate Investing Podcast, where we help you unlock your potential freedom through land investing, real estate investing, and entrepreneurship. Hey everyone, welcome back. This is episode 111 of the Real Estate Investing Podcast, discussing expectations of sending my first few mailers. I'm your host, Daniel Apke, joined again by my brother and business partner, Ron Apke. Before we get into the show, let's go over a question from one of our featured members. Today's question is from Josh in our Discord community. Josh asked, just got my first deal under contract. I've done due diligence and everything looks good. I'm getting title quotes and the timeline they are telling me is 3 to 4 weeks. Is this normal?
Nice. Congrats on getting that first deal under contract. And if it looks good, that's obviously really good news. Like, you just got to get the title now, find the right title company. It can be not stressful, but it is a project finding that first title company. And you really don't know until you actually use them how they're going to perform or if they're going to be up to your expectations. But I mean, 3 to 4 weeks is we typically like to get title quotes that are saying 2 weeks to 3 weeks. If you're getting ones that are saying 3 weeks, like, you probably want to move forward. The question I have for you though, Josh, is how many title quotes have you gotten? Have you gotten 2? Have you gotten 4? Have you gotten 10? Like, there are always more companies out there. So make some more calls, find someone. So what you want to look for with title companies, find someone who allows you to e-sign for your purchases. Find someone who ideally works the whole state that you're working in, because you're going to get more deals probably in different counties. And then obviously find someone who is as fast as you can find, 2 to 3 weeks.
How many people do you suggest calling, Ron? Title companies?
I usually say 3 to 5, but if you're getting a bunch of 4-week people, like, there is a company out there who will get this done for you in 2 to 3 weeks. So keep on calling. 5 to 7, I think, isn't out of the question. We find long-term title company relationships and then use them for the whole state. So it's not like we're looking for title companies on a weekly basis, because most states we're working in, we already have someone. So that's the advantage of it. And you do want to build that long-term relationship. But if it doesn't work out with this company, you just use someone else for your next deal.
Good advice, Ron. Well, let's get into the show. Today's topic, expectations from sending out your first few mailers. And we really wanted to do this because I feel like so many people are joined, especially with the 30-day challenge. So many people join, send out one mailer, wait for results, and don't do anything else, Ron. Is that right?
For sure. It's a common thing where people, and that's what I want to balance people's expectations with these as well. There are so many deals out there to be had, but we know data and we know from our experience with members, from ourselves, the long-term thing. This is a long-term game. This is you trying to maybe change your 9 to 5 into being a full-time land investor, whatever it is. So measuring those expectations, if you just go from like entrepreneurship thing to entrepreneurship thing, just dip your toe in it, Daniel, there's a chance you might never find something that works, and you never really gave anything the full opportunity. So that's how I kind of look at it. That's the purpose of this episode. There's so many people doing this so successfully, and I want to make sure you guys have the proper expectations going in.
Yeah, like anything, Ron, consistency is key, especially with this. Like, there's mailers still to this day we don't get results on. There's mailers we get exceptional results on, and same as our members. And that's why we just preach consistency. Consistency is everything. But getting into it, Ron, let's just talk a little bit about how long it actually takes to get your mail out.
Yeah, so you started whether you join the course, you're trying to do it yourself, or you have some other course that you're taking and teaching you how to do this. It varies, like, how much time you're going to put into it. I do not want you rushing it. Our 30-day challenge is something where we've had people get their first deal in 21 days, but they are grinding, Daniel, for those first like 3 weeks. And then they got the education, they're learning, obviously have a lot of experience, but it's normal to get your first mailer out within like 2 weeks of the education. That's what we kind of tell people. Because I think if you're actually doing work each day, which is just an hour a day or so, if you're doing work each day, within 2 weeks, you're going to be pretty educated. You're going to understand things. You're obviously going to make mistakes. That's part of this. But whether you send your first mailer at 2 weeks or 2 months, you're still going to make mistakes. It's about learning from your mail and all that. But that's what I kind of tell people when I'm talking to them in consultations or whatever, is get your first mail out in about 2 weeks, put an hour in every day, and you'll definitely, that's a long time, I think, in my opinion, Daniel. 10 hours, I think, is pretty realistic to get your first mailer out, which would be 10 days, but 10 to 14 days.
Yeah, the one thing you don't want to do is overanalyze. We see a lot of people doing that, or just getting scared and looking at it, making sure they pick the right county. there's a line, right? You're going to learn a lot from experience. You can only review that area pricing so much until it becomes analysis paralysis, Ron. And that's what you really want to avoid. You want to kind of teeter that line at first because you are learning. You want to try to absorb it all, work really hard, keep looking it over, test for a reason, all the things we teach in our program, Ron. But you don't want to be paralyzed and not send it out because we do see quite a few people doing that as well.
Yeah, and there's no perfect. You're gonna ask people like about counties, stuff like that. You might reach out to us and ask like, "What do you think about this county?" There is no perfect county to send mail to. There is no perfect price to price your mail out. At the end of the day, it matters who is opening that mail each day when your mail is hitting, and that's how you're gonna get deals. Obviously, having things priced and having a county that makes sense based on what we taught is ideal, but there is not, you can do this literally anywhere. It's just you got to adjust things based on your location. So you can analyze all you want. I could take the next 3 days to try to analyze, and I could send a mailer that maybe didn't get results because whatever, someone, just the right people weren't answer or opening the mail. So it's it, like you said, teetering that line, Daniel, of doing your research, doing your due diligence, doing your education versus overdoing all of that stuff. There's a good balance point, I think, in there somewhere.
No, I definitely agree. And we can get into how much, like what amount of mailers they should be sending out and looking at, because that's a common question as well. We had one person send out, I think they said like 450 for their first mailer, around something around there, Ron. And that's just not enough. You have to get enough out there. Even if you're scared, even if you know you're going to make mistakes, 450, you're most likely not going to get a deal. All of a sudden you send 3,000 out, Ron. I would probably put money on it that you most likely will get a deal back. I'm not guaranteeing it, but if you do it right, there's a good chance that you're going to get a deal back, Ron. And that's like the difference between the people actually willing to invest that 3,000 mailers. I mean, marketing 60 cents a mailer, whatever it is right now, plus everything else, it's expensive. But our average margin, Ron, like I said yesterday, $23,000 of profit, selling for around 50,000, profit 23,000. So the ROI is incredible on mail, Ron. You just got to be willing to sacrifice and spend that money up front on the marketing.
Yeah, it's kind of and it's hard mentally at first. Like you're sending mail, you're spending a good amount of money, you don't see the deals yet. Like you got to wait 2 weeks for the mail to hit just for those calls to start coming. And it is a hard mental battle that you're going to be going through but at the end of the day, the mail is the most effective way to get deals. We've tested everything. Like guys, we keep getting asked this stuff. We have tested texting, we've tested, dialers. We've tested emails and all this other stuff in between. And mail is what is getting us if we send 100,000 mailers, we're going to get $1 million of profit. That's what our data long term says, and that's why we're pushing people, and that's why we're so passionate about this strategy. But as far as your first month or so of mail, like you do not want, like Daniel said to start this episode, you don't want to send mail and then wait. So you want to split those first two mailers into a month. I like doing 1,200 to 2,000 mailers for your first two mailers. Send it every 2 weeks and send 1,200 to 2,000. That's going to put you at 3,000 to 4,000 for your first month. It's going to give you a lot of experience with calls. It's not going to break the bank like a crazy amount. It is going to cost money, but you have a really good chance at getting a deal if you send 4,000 mailers your first month. Even if you do make some mistakes, you're going to get phone calls. You're going to get interested sellers. So that's what I really like. And we've had people who also will send 4,500 mailers, 5,000 on the other side of what you said. So you said 450, way too low. I think 4,000 or 5,000 for your first mailer is way too high. I think it's extremely risky. I think there's a good chance, not a good chance you won't get a deal or anything. You'll probably get a deal, but I like that middle ground, Daniel, where you're sending maybe 1,200 to 2,500 for your first mailer and then sending another one 2 weeks later, just like that.
That's the key, though. You need to make sure you send your second one. Don't just wait for your results to hit. If you're going to split it up, as Ron's saying, you need to be committed to sending that again because it's a small sample size. You send 1,250, 1,500, like he's saying, 2,000, still a small sample size. But all of a sudden, you do that 2-3 times in a row, you're going to get deals back and you're going to see consistency there and you're going to make a lot of money. And Ron brought it up like 100,000 mailers gets us $1 million. So, the way to make $1 million, Ron, is the quickest way to send 100,000 mailers. No, just kidding. Don't do that. That's you want to take your time. Don't just look at marketing and the amount of money you spend as the only thing involved. You need to focus on your pricing and operations. If you send 100,000 mailers out, you won't have the operations in place to be able to acquire those. You won't know what's good land versus bad land. You don't want to do that. You want to learn as you go and then amp it up, get a few deals under your belt, understand land, understand the value of land, how to comp land, pricing, improving all of your techniques, all of your business, and then scale it up to sending 100,000 over, half a year. You don't want to send that out at once. It's a lot of volume of calls, everything coming back in. So don't just hear that, because we have had people come in, Ron, and send 10, 20,000 mailers right away. It's like, I love their commitment. They probably have a lot of extra money in the bank. That's great. We sent 10,000 our first month we ever did this, Ron, and we are committed, but I don't know if we got many deals off that 10,000. That's why we're teaching you guys. We're teaching you guys what not to do, because Ron and I did not get deals for a long time. We were experimenting with different ways of doing things.
Yeah, for sure. And I really agree. And it's like from seeing students, from seeing people do things, like you said, we've seen people do both sides of it, sending too much mail at once and sending too little mail at once. And we see that middle ground of the people who are successful, the people who, like, you send 450 mailers, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get a deal. You send these people who are sending 2,000, 2,500 mailers, their first mailer and their second mailer, they're getting deals that first month. Even if they're believing it and sending that second mailer, like Daniel said, and not just waiting for your results. Send it to two separate areas. I really don't care where you send it to, honestly, if you're doing that 1,200 to 2,500. But yeah, that's a good point, Daniel. You don't, and getting into our next kind of topic, you don't want to send too much mail. Like, that is really, really important. And basically my question is, can you send too much mail? The answer is absolutely yes. If your systems are not prepared for it. So if you're in your first month, your first 2 months, and you don't have any systems in place, you send 10,000 mailers, and we've seen it happen. We've had people come into us from other programs that told them to send 10,000 mailers. And then I asked them about their processes, and there's just nothing. They're using Microsoft Excel. They have no due diligence checklist. They just look at the land on MapRight or whatever and send the title if it looks good. And then if it doesn't look good, maybe negotiate. I don't really know. But if your systems, your people, your processes aren't in place, you do not want to be sending more than 5,000 a month. And I think that's kind of the limit for, if you're doing pen and paper, you're doing Excel, you have a 9 to 5. I would not go above 5,000.
No, I agree. And you mentioned sending 2,000, 1,500 over and over again, or 2, 3 times. Like, these people are getting deals around, like you said. And that's why at the end of the day, we feel so strongly in this business, because we have that guarantee. Like, we have a land investing online money back guarantee. Like, if you do what Ron's saying and send that mail consistently for a few months and don't get deals, we give people their money back. We haven't, because it hasn't happened. But if this doesn't work, we have 100% money back guarantee. And that's how confident we are in this business, Ron. You send 2,000, 1,500 mailers over and over again, 2, 3, 4 times, you're going to have serious deals. We're going to see you guys in the Wednesday webinars, Ron, and they're going to be bringing their good deals to us. And I wanted to kind of talk about expectations, Ron, for someone just starting out. And I was on a consultation call this morning, and they were asking kind of expectations for when they're getting the deal, Ron, how quick to actually get the deal. Like you said earlier in this, you can within 3, 4 weeks fairly easily to getting it acquired. But the whole thing, Ron, from acquiring to selling, we can talk a little bit about the expectations, timeline, profit, opportunities with this volume that we're talking about.
So from like when you send your mail in?
Yes. Well, we'll talk
Yeah.
timeline and then talk about profit expectations, because I wanted to get into just expectations in this segment.
Yeah, good point. So the way we teach things is, like, we're teaching you not to make $2,000 on any deal. Like, that is not our target. Our target is minimum like 7,500, maybe even 9 grand or so per deal, making that much. So that's kind of what we teach as far as how to send mail for those type of deals. As far as the timeline goes, like we said, starting education, you get your mail out within 10 to 14 days. Mail is going to take 2 weeks to hit or so. You're going to get calls. So that first, after 2 weeks, you're going to start getting calls. Those first 1 to 3 days, you're going to get a bunch of hate calls, which is essentially people upset that they got a letter from you trying to buy their land. They're passionate about their land. They love their land. They have no price that they're going to sell their land for, which is fine. That's normal. Those next 3 to 5 days, so we're at like day after the mail hits, we're at day like 3 to 7 after a mail hits. So since you sent your mail, you're about 21 days or so. That's when you're going to get a lot of interested people where you might be negotiating. You're going to be reviewing deals. You're going to be obtaining PAs, and you might get You might get 4 PAs for your first county with 2,000 mailers. There's a chance you only buy one of those. Because we're very strict on our due diligence. You want to make sure you're buying good land, especially as we go into recession. We're not sure exactly what 2023 is going to have in terms of real estate with the recession and everything. Like it's in a weird little place right now, Dan. But you're going to start getting those PAs. You're going to start purchasing property. You're going to send things to title. That's going to take 2 weeks. And then realistically, like you can own your first property within a month of when you sent your mail. I think that's a pretty realistic thing, maybe 5 weeks. And then it's going to take you a couple weeks to sell, and then you'll flip your money. And a normal, like Daniel said, to start this, a normal average profit for us is about $23,000. So realistically, you could make $23,000 when about 2 months to 3 months, I would say, Dan, from when you started your education. I know that was a lot, but I think that's kind of the timeline.
And to wrap that up, I don't have too much to add. I think you hit it on spot. But if you send about three to 5,000 mailers your first month, you should get yield on average 1 to 2 deals back from that. And honestly, like I see these new people around sending that, they're vetting these leads so well, and there's a great chance you can get more than 1 to 2 deals. That's just on average. Like if you do things right, really take your time with it, and send out this mail, split it up into a couple mailers, send out 3 to 5,000, you could get a few deals, like a few really good deals. You're talking $23,000 profit average that we're working with. You have a deal that gets you 10,000. Maybe you have a deal that gets you 50,000. We had people last night who in our webinar run that sent their first mailer. One was a buy for 80, I think 80 or so, and sell for upper 100s, like 160. It was his first mailer. That's the opportunity you have here. Like we're not talking $23,000 minimum, or that's just the average. We have a lot of deals smaller than that, but we get so many deals that are 50,000 plus on profit. So if you just commit to this mail and commit to the business model, the results are going to show. Like there's no doubt in my mind. That's why we have that guarantee, Ron.
Some of the people like that I'm seeing right now, Dano, it's really, really cool to see because some people you'll have or start this and then send it. They'll get a few PAs back. Maybe they don't buy anything and then they're done. But we have so many people right now in our community that they're going to be big players in the land game. Like I really feel strongly about that. The way they're just like taking our advice, negotiating down sellers, like that is a huge part of this business is when you get defected land, like being okay negotiating down from your offer price. And more times than not, these sellers are, someone just got, so we had two different people that we talked to yesterday and they were looking for deal funding. One of them was at 95,000 and we told him like, if you can get this to 85, maybe even 90,000, you're in a really good spot. He tried to get down to 85. He got it to 90,000, which makes a big difference when it's looking at funding. The other person got it down from 25 down to 21, I think. And these people are committed, and they're going to be big players in the land game. I don't know if you feel the same way, Daniel, but I'm excited for where that's going.
People who are comfortable negotiating down. As you were saying that, I just opened my phone up to see a Discord message because I wanted to see what last night we had a deal come. Graham brought out a deal, I think, and he was priced okay. I think it was 95 sell, potentially like 170, 180, which is really good margins if you're funding it yourself. But he texted me this morning and said he got him down to 90. That's $5,000. That's 7% that he got this guy down, 6.5, whatever that is. And that makes a difference. Like these people who are comfortable negotiating down and just attacking these deals and going after it are going to be so successful. I'm excited to see what they do. I remember how difficult those conversations are. Like it's not easy calling these people and saying, hey, I can't offer you 25,000 anymore. But they all had reasons, Ron. The one example you're talking about from 25 to 21,000, there was old RVs and stuff, and they said it's just going to take a lot of money and resources to remove them and clear the land, and there's just too much trash on it. And the guy said, yeah, that's fine, let's go $21,000. But I don't have too much to add. I think we gave them a good evaluation of what to expect, the expectations and the amount of mailers you should send, Ron, and then also like how long the timeline and how long it takes them to actually send the mail out. I feel like this is a good kind of intro lesson for anyone looking to get in.
Yep. And like to end this, Dan, like I think this end it where we kind of started. Like, do not start this business if you're just planning on dipping your toe in. Like, if you believe in this business, you believe in it. Let's go full force into this. That's what our guarantee is. If you do this for 6 months, you're going to get your money back if it didn't work. We have had no one claim that guarantee.
I think it's
because
3 months or
everyone
4
who's
months.
yeah, it might be 3 months. I'm sorry, it is 3 months. we've had no one claim that guarantee because everyone who does it consistently for 3 months is making a ton of money. So don't do this business if you're just going to dip your toe in, try 1,500 mailers. I'm saving you money right now on education and the mail if you just plan on doing that. But if you're committed, you think this is going to work. Like some of these deals we're seeing right now from our community is incredible. And I agree, Daniel. This should be beneficial to a lot of people kind of on the fence about things.
I would dive in full force and then scale back if you don't want to scale it. That's how I would do, because there's such a big learning curve and pricing curve and negotiation and understanding title. I would go in full force, get your business operations down, and then say, okay, I don't want to send this much mail. I don't want to do this many deals. Let's just kind of come and go and send mail as you want. That's an opportunity, but it's hard to get to that point. You need this is a skill set, right? Land investing and understanding land and title and all this. This is a very valuable skill set. Build that skill set up and then scale back. It's kind of like, say you're a fantastic trader, right? You didn't get to become a fantastic trader by sitting on the sidelines watching and just doing it here and there. You became a famous trader, day trader, whatever. And I don't know anything about that business run at all, but you became a famous trader because you were in the weeds doing it. It took you a long time to build that skill set. And now you can do, half a quarter of the trades you once did to make the same exact money. You're just putting your money in better places. You see the market better. It's the same exact thing for anything, Ron. You're building the skill set, get the skill set, then start scaling back if you want, or amplify it up. And that's what Ron and I believe in.
Exactly. Awesome, Dan. I don't have anything else.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining. If you guys have already not, please share this on Apple Podcasts with a friend. That really helps drive our mission of creating more freedom for people. It helps us grow and reach more people. We really appreciate you guys for joining us. Other than that, thanks for joining, and we'll see you guys next episode.
Thanks, guys.